I want to show you potting up this afternoon, and this is an Acer I bought yesterday, and I got this from Tesco's, believe it or not, for £3, which for an Acer is very good value. In 2 years' time, this will have grown to 2 to 3 feet, and in the garden centres you're going to be paying £30 plus. So £3 is a good investment, and you'll only be spending, if we put it up this year and then again towards the end of next year, probably cost you about £2 in soil, and you're going to end up with a plant that's worth at least £30. So what we want to do is pot on to a pot size which is just slightly bigger, about 1 inch or so circumference all round, is the best way to do it. Don't pot in too big a pot, because that doesn't do any good. What you'll find will happen, if you use a really large pot, then the roots will go straight out and they'll form all around the edge of the pot, because that's where the most oxygen is. So the idea is for it to use up the soil that's in there. If it stays in the pot long enough, then it will eventually root into the compost. But what we want to do here now, there's two ways of potting these. You can either take them out of the pot and just pot them straight in, put a little bit of soil on the bottom and then pot around them. But the way I prefer to do this is put a little bit of compost in the bottom of the pot, firm it down, offer your pot in. Important to get it to the same height as where you want the soil to be, and then just fill in around the outer edges. Doesn't matter if you get soil in the plant itself, because that we can just tip off at the end. But just fill up all the rims and then gently pack the soil down so it's reasonably firm, and then repeat the process, topping up, firm it down again till you get to somewhere near the top of the pot. Once you've done that, you can just grab the pot, turn it slightly, ease it out, and there you've got a template made inside the pot. Tap off the excess soil. Whenever you're handling plants, getting them out, try not to handle the stems. If you're going to get something out of a pot, this is an ideal size. Place your fingers across so that you're not actually grabbing the stem itself. Turn it upside down, make sure it's got plenty of room so you don't damage it when you do it. Press the bottom of the pot and the side of the pot, get it to come out. This one's could go another 2 or 3 weeks before it's potted up, but the reason I want to pot this up is because acers are very prone to drying out very quickly, and the less soil you have in there, the quicker it'll dry out. So sometimes if it's a really hot day, if it's not in the shade, it will dry out within 3 or 4 hours, and then it'll start to suffer. So that's it. You always plant level with the original soil. So the idea is we do not want to get any soil up along this stem, because these stems breathe, and you'll find that when you're on construction sites, when they're saving trees, you never stack soil up around the tree trunk, because it will die off. Most people will put something around it to keep the air circulating around the base of the trunks. You can do it that way and build up the soil, but you mustn't put soil completely around the rim of the trunk. Now, another one that I bought yesterday, I went to the garden centre for the first time, this particular garden centre. This is a lovely skimmer, and this was £10, but it was reduced to £5 because basically this is Skimmia japonica porosa, and it's got these beautiful red flowers on it, and also it's got this variegated foliage, which is an extra bonus. And for £5 I thought it was worth the risk. The reason that they were selling it off was A, it doesn't get watered it hasn't been because they've been shut, and it was full of all these dead flowers. So I've cut all the dead flowers off, which has smartened it up immediately. And I want to pot this on again. Choose a size pot just about an inch or so bigger than the original diameter. This one, I'm going to show you how to pot this one up, just doing it this way. Again, tip it upside down, press the bottom of the pot till you hear it release. Again, this one's got a better root system. It could go another 2 weeks or so before you potted it up, but it's suffered a bit, so I want it to be better. Now that's in the pot, and the top is just a fraction too tall really. So what I want to do here is take it out again, take just a tiny bit more compost off. I want to leave enough room at the top of the pot to water. So we'll put that back in. You see now that's just about right, about ½ an inch to an inch below the pot. Put your compost in. This is a peat based compost. Now, before you all start screaming at me, we're trying to save the planet, and this particular peat compost, I don't know why, but it comes from a very good reliable supplier, and it does say that it's obtained from a sustainable source. So it doesn't say where, but just the same as last time, firm it down around the outside. It's a lot coarser than a lot of the peat that you buy. The peat that you peat-based compost that you used to buy used to be sieved quite a bit and most of the debris taken out, but this is much more coarse, and it looks really good. Plants like it. These are ericaceous plants. The Acer will do well in that sort of soil. Once you've done that, what I didn't tell you before that was I gave the plants a really good soak before I potted them up, because it's easier to get them wet before you do that. And if they're really dry, I mean, this one from Tesco's, the reason I don't normally buy plants from supermarkets, doesn't matter which supermarket, is that one was totally bone dry when I bought it yesterday, and I brought it home and quickly soaked it, and it's looking really good now. It was suffering a bit yesterday. All the plants in the supermarkets, they haven't got trained gardeners. It's hit and miss whether stuff gets watered or not. So if you see something in there really cheap, worthwhile getting, buy it, as long as it looks as though you can recover it. When you're testing these sort of things, this is a hydrangea cutting that I did last year. Again, now you can see from that there's hardly any roots there. There's roots all around that side really well. So that one's not ready to be potted on yet. That can go another 3 or 4 weeks before we need to think about potting that up. It's always good to keep an eye on them. This particular shrub, again, took from a cutting. A good idea whether or not you can tell it needs potting on is the roots are all starting to come through the base of the pot. So I would say if we tip this out, here it go. Now that is just getting to the stage where it probably does need potting on. It could go another week or so, especially if I fed it, but that compost will be virtually spent by now of nutrients, so it's a good idea to pot that on. I don't need this is extra to my needs. It's but I'm going to pot it up because it'll make a nice gift to give somebody for their garden. So I will, in about another week's time, pot that on and then give it to somebody, either as a present or just as a gift. That's all I want to show you for today. So have some good gardening and make sure you water everything, especially in this really dry weather. Okay, take care, bye.